What's going on, guys? It's DeeO here with vurbmotogamers, and today I'm bringing you the Wednesday downloadable content showcase for MX versus ATV Alive. Now, if you haven't got any downloadable content before, what you're going to do on the main menu, you go down to Moto Club Depot. It's actually going to say new content available, but I've already downloaded it, so you don't have to watch me downloading these vehicles and gear. But go over to the respective categories of vehicles, of course. As you can see, I've already downloaded the KTM 250f XF MX and the Suzuki RMZ 250. And then in gear, I'm going to show these a lot better in just a second, so just bear with me. But just showing you how to get to them and download them. And so you can see the prices here and all, and I've already downloaded these. And you just click on them, and actually I already downloaded that one, so it's a little different. But it'll say confirm purchase, you confirm it, and then it'll go into your active downloads. And then you'll have it in the game once it finishes downloading. So in case you weren't sure how to do that, there you go. The first bike we're going to take a look at is the 2011 RMZ 250. So I personally really like the Suzuki. I think it looks really good, and when you play, the back fender looks awesome, but you'll see that in just a few seconds. So going to run through the graphics. Of course, you have throttle jockey here. Go up to One Industries. I skipped factory Suzuki, there you go, but I really like the One Industries, personal preference, of course. It doesn't affect the bike at all. Then you have the N style here, fusion graphics, the factory effects, FLU, I'm not sure how to say it, decal works with the swirls, pretty cool. It's like they were last week, the bike graphics, and then the 180 decals. So this is just a quick lap on the Suzuki. I just show a quick lap on this, and then I show one on the KTM. But on this Suzuki, I'm running the factory effects graphics. It's just personal preference on the graphics. They don't affect the bike at all or anything, of course. And I'm also using the new gear, which I'm going to show at the end of this show, but it's the Oneal Element Switchblade, and it's in the colorway yellow and cyan. I thought it looked really cool with the Suzuki. Hopefully you agree. I like it, and when it comes to gear and graphics, it doesn't affect your bike handling or anything. So the Suzuki has a lot of power. Like, I was having trouble with these triples on the Blaze 250, and I know I kind of cased that second one, but you know, I'm not going to be running flawless laps here or anything, so you just have to take it with a grain of salt. But the bike is really powerful. I clear everything with ease. In comparison with the KTM, I think it feels almost heavier. Like, it's a little sluggish when you turn, and you can't take corners quite as sharp. It's not as jittery, I guess. It's just, it feels like you're weighed down a little bit more, and I actually kind of like that, because then when you turn your corners, it's not like you're just whipping a quick 180. You actually kind of slowly roll through a corner, and it suits my play style more. Again, that's personal preference, but the bike has a lot of power. It's a lot of fun to ride, and as I mentioned before, the back fender, you might not be able to see it here, especially with the factory effects decals, but just the shape of the plastic I think looks really cool, so that's nice for sure. And now the next bike we have is the 2011 KTM 250 SXF. As with the Suzuki, I'm going to show you guys the graphics that come with it. Of course, you have the stock KTM graphics right there, the throttle jockey, the One Industries, N style, the, again, stock like I showed just a second ago, the fusion graphics, the factory effects, the FLU or FLU, decal works, again with the swirls. The yellow actually looks really good with the orange in my opinion, the bike graphics, and the 180 decals. And so now, just like with the Suzuki, I'm going to give a quick lap. Again, not the best lap, it's not flawless by any means, but on this I'm running the KTM obviously. I'm using the One Industries graphics, and I'm using the gear set, which is the hardware, the Oneal hardware, flashback, the blue and gold colorway. And now, as I kind of stated with in the Suzuki part, the KTM, at least for me, seems really, really light. Like, when you get in the air, you can just flick it around. It's almost like when you go from a 450 to a 125. Like, you can see throughout this video that I'm just kind of all over the place, and my back end will be really high, and then it'll be really low, and it feels like it's really flickable. It's almost kind of twitchy. It's a really touchy bike, at least in my opinion. And as I stated in the Suzuki, I kind of like when it feels heavier, but if you are a big reflex player and you like how the bikes were so twitchy in that, then you might want to check out the KTM, because at least for me, that's exactly how it feels. Well, okay, not exactly, but very similar. But then again, this bike just has power for days. Like, I found myself over jumping so many jumps that on the normal Blaze 250f I was having trouble just clearing in the first place, and on this thing I was just overshooting, and it was a lot of fun just to have all that power at your disposal. So if you're looking for power, these downloadable content bikes definitely deliver. And as for the handling, the KTM is, in my opinion, lighter and touchier, twitchier, however you want to phrase that. Now this might be kind of silly, but I lined these two clips up just on the Suzuki and the KTM and just rode on the Stewart compound from this fence to the starting line as a comparison of power and speed, acceleration, all that. But in the end, as you see, it actually didn't matter. They were exactly the same. So this week's downloadable content in the gear category comes straight from Oneal Motocross. And the two different versions we have are the Element and the Hardware. And each of them have some different colorways, so we're going to take a look at those right now. First, we'll start off with the Element. You have the yellow and cyan, which you can see here. The only thing I don't really like is that your name like blends into it. I wish you could either change your name color and number and just something like that, because it blends in a lot, but that's alright. The red and white, again with the name, but that's alright. It's not a big deal. I really like this stuff. It looks really cool. The white and black. Red and black, which stands out a lot. I think a lot of people are going to be running that if they buy this downloadable content. And the blue and white. And the black and white. I'm sorry, I didn't know there was another one, but there you go. And now we will take a look at the hardware. So of course, go down to the bottom, you have the blue and red right here. Very patriotic. I like the back how it says like enjoy the ride or something like that. I can't really read it, but I think it's cool that that's just added in. I'm sure that's on the real gear, but it's just awesome to be in the game as well. The yellow and blue, which stands out a lot, I think that's going to look really good on Suzuki's. The white and black. The red and cyan, which is another really cool one. I really like this one as well. Neon. The blue and gold, which I actually used earlier in the video. Another blue and gold. As you can see, this one is more like stripes, I guess you can say, especially if you look at the front where it says Oneal MX, it's stripes, and the blue and gold is more like a kind of a zigzag, almost lightning kind of look. So there you have it. Those are the two gear sets that came with this version of downloadable content, and I personally first thought that the gear was going to be kind of silly to download, but seeing it now, you get a lot of different colorways in just buying one set of gear, so you get a lot of bang for your buck. And if you play the game as much as I do, then you probably get tired of the same gear that you've been running. So it's really nice to have these different options to put on your guy and just add a new little flair to the game, I guess you could say. So just kind of a wrap up on the DLC as a whole, if you should buy it or whatever. In my opinion, if you play the game nearly as much as I do, then yes, it adds a whole bunch to the game to have new bikes and new gear. It's awesome in my opinion. And honestly, if you're one of the people that's like, oh, $3 for a bike is expensive, I don't want to pay that, well, that's the great thing about it. You don't have to. If you don't want the bikes or the gear or anything, you don't have to buy it. It's not going to ruin your game experience at all. It's not like it's going to not allow you to play online or something. So if you think the bikes are cool and you think the gear is cool, I definitely say go for it. It's nice to have something new to look at on your screen. Like even just watching this footage now, just the new gear, it's just a nice change from normal. So I say definitely go for it. And I know some people are upset that you have to pay for the downloadable content, but at least in the US, remember that the game was only $40, so that kind of makes up for it. And once again, you don't have to buy the downloadable content. No one's forcing you to pay for it. And also, if you want to buy a bike, the 240 Microsoft points, whatever, comes out to about $3. So maybe after school tonight, just don't go buy a Monster, and that money can go straight into a bike. Just think of it that way, and it'll make you feel better about it. I think it's awesome that they made this available for you if you want it. So there you go, guys. There's my review on the Wednesday downloadable content showcase. I hope you enjoyed. As always, this has been Return of DeeO. Take it easy. If it's easy, take it twice, and I'll see you guys on Alive.
For daily motocross pro and am coverage, be sure to log on to vurbmoto.com, and if you like us, prove it.